Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Good morning to Sadly Mistaken. Good morning to Daniel Berry Sports. Good morning to CMAC TV. Y'all, I apologize for my tardiness. I'm tardy though because when I woke up, y'all, I was sitting here toying with the idea of what I needed to name this live. Like, I didn't know what to title this live. So many different titles went through my head, like, because this week, based on what I observed, specifically the last couple of days, I wasn't sure how I wanted to title this. It's just a lot of random stuff. On the one hand, I kind of wanted to title this "Don't Ask My Neighbor" because y'all, I would say the last 24 hours, 48 hours, the neighbors have made an appearance. Of course, we know about Lemon's neighbor who made an appearance about a week ago. Well, Lemon's neighbor did come back, and I was catching ODS's replay from about 2 nights ago. And the neighbor was on ODS's link with Lemon. Good morning, Spicy Dicey. Good morning, everybody. Oh, you said you should have seen my nasty dirty wine during your intro. I could only imagine, Spicy Dicey. It's so funny with that intro music that I have. When I hear that song, I honestly think about my cousin. One of my cousins is an AKA, and I remember at her wedding reception, they were strolling. Her and her line sisters were strolling through the reception hall, and it's something about that music that make me want to do a old nasty HBCU strut. That's how I be feeling when I hear that music. I don't know if I want to strut AKA, if I want to strut Delta, if I want to strut Zeta, but either way, I just be wanting to strut. Speaking of strutting and HBCUs, happy Juneteenth to everybody. I did not do a morning show on Thursdays, which I typically don't. Yesterday, I was thinking about doing one of those throwback shows for y'all for the Thursday, but then once I got situated from my day, y'all, I tuned in to see what all I had missed because yesterday was such a busy day for me. And as I was tuning in, trying to get some type of understanding of everything that transpired, while I slept and while I was busy and everything. Good morning, Olivia. Spicy Dicey, you pregnant? What? Spicy Dicey, you probably up in here trolling me. Stop trolling. It's too early for you to troll me, Spicy Dicey. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. But happy Friday to everybody. But yeah, so once I actually started trying to get caught up with what I missed, y'all, it was just a lot. It was all over the place. So I guess I can tell y'all that I started at Codes yesterday morning, but y'all, I had to keep starting and stopping his live. Because I had a busy morning and I was like, eventually I kind of just gave up. I kind of just gave up. When I had to start and stop it so many times, and then and then by the time I finally was actually ready to sit down and listen, I was like 3 or 4 hours behind, and I'm like, damn, he must have been on here for 6 hours. So because I had already seen that I was that far behind in his life, I just was like, well, let me just go ahead and look at something else. Once I got situated though yesterday, I tuned into Pizarro's live. Shamar went live. I tuned into that. Like I said, I caught ODS replay with Lemon's neighbor. So essentially, Lemon's neighbor alluded to the fact that she thinks that Lemon is gay. She wouldn't outright say it though. I guess she did not want to hurt his feelings. Good morning, Gigi. I guess she didn't want to hurt his feelings and just come out and say that he might be gay. But she basically was saying, that there are some times that When people say who they are, then you just need to take their word for it. Which I agree with her. Once upon a time, I was that way when it came to Lemon. But this was before the Vegas trip. But people was like throwing this idea out that he was gay back then. Even before the trip, like around this time last year. And I did. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt because I honestly didn't want to be one of those people that try to tell this man straight up and down that he is gay if he not. But then after the Vegas trip, and after the video footage surfaced, and then after the eyewitness testimony and eyewitness accounts came out about the way he walked and about the flick of his wrist and everything. Then I started really thinking that he probably could be gay. But I think that the neighbor has thought that as well, but she was just taking his word for it up until Pizarro started asking her about the Grinder app. The neighbor, being that she is a lesbian, she's familiar with the Grinder app, and once she found out that Lemon had the Grinder app on his phone, then she started to believe that maybe there might be a possibility that he's gay. Good morning, Dreamy Jean. Good morning. The hell's my lighter? So she said that with the Grind app that he could be gay. Then the main thing that I know that happened when with ODS's replay is that Lemon and the neighbor was chilling and Lemon's mama showed up. Now, a couple of weeks ago, when the neighbor first came into the beef sector with him, the neighbor said that she never thought that he lived with his mama. But late 2 nights ago on ODS's live, I guess Lemon's mom ended up coming home, and the neighbor was like, "Is that your mom?" And then Lemon hurried up and clicked off the link, which led everybody to believe that Lemon's mama was getting off work in the middle of the night and coming home, and the girl saw Lemon's mama. So either way, the girl ended up spilling tea. I don't understand why Lemon keep bringing his neighbors and stuff on here. It almost is like he want all of his personal business to come out to everybody on here. I don't know if he bringing these random people on here to prove a point, y'all. Good morning, Ray Triggs. Thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it. I don't know if he is trying to prove a point to everybody on the internet by bringing these people, or if I don't know, because I just wouldn't go and keep bringing my people up on here for them to be questioned, for them to be exploited, for them to be asking everything about me, or for them to be knowing that I'm giving away thousands of dollars up on the internet, for them to just know my every move. Honestly, y'all, I don't even like the fact of people in my real life being able to just come and look at my channel all willy-nilly without my knowledge. Once upon a time, they used to burn me up. It was in one instance where I couldn't stand, like, let's say that you are no longer on speaking terms with a person. But you are no longer on speaking terms with a person, but the person can still check in to see how you doing, to see how things are going for you every now and then, because they could just eavesdrop on your channel. I don't like that. And that's primarily one of the reasons why I typically don't get too many people in my personal real life involved in the beef sector on my YouTube channel, none of that. Because I believe in having a place in the space for myself. Even when it comes to the subbies, I believe in having a place in a space for myself. Like, subbies can hit me up in Instagram, but that's because I advertise my Instagram on here. Subbies can hit me up via email because I've advertised my email on here. Subbies can hit me up in the comment section because I've advertised that. But if a subby were to ever hit me up in any other avenue besides those three that I said right there, I would feel like the subby was overstepping the boundary. And I would feel like the subby was not leaving me time for myself. There is a such thing as separating the two. Like, I wouldn't dare want somebody in my real life snooping around my social media if I didn't give them permission to be snooping around. Good morning, Fifi. Good morning, everybody. Dreamy said, even though it's obvious he's gay, but I think it's karma for how he outed someone else. Could be. And speaking of the karma about outing Shakim got his own situation going with this man, Shamar. And it's quite interesting. It's so many different talking points within this live where I just want to say, I told you so, but I'm trying to be more mature to where I don't need to say I told you so. But even when it comes to Shakim and Shamar, had to be about 3 weeks ago when this whole For the Love of Shamar idea was first thrown out there by Pizarro. I didn't know if Pizarro was full of shit. I didn't know if Pizarro was trolling me. So I was like, well, the next time Shamar goes live, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to ask him, because I don't know if Pizarro just playing around or what. So I waited for Shamar to go live and I went over there and I clicked this link and me and him had a discussion where I was just asking him a couple of questions, trying to make sure that Pizarro wasn't just out here lying on the man. Well, the man did confirm that, hey, he is going to have this date and show. He and a couple of his panelists actually recommended for me to potentially co-host it with Pizarro. And then also, a few of the people up on his panel were telling me that I should even put it on my channel, because at that time Lemon had decided that he was not going to be a part of that show. Good morning, Jeannie G. Thank you, Jeannie G. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, some of his panelists had wanted me to host it because at that time Lemon was saying he wasn't going to host it because Lemon was upset or felt some type of way about Shamar and Billy Goat Rock. Well, I told Shamar, I was like, well, Shamar, I don't think that you should really get yourself involved up in this because XYZ. And I started giving him a few scenarios about why this wasn't the best idea for him. But specifically, I had to go back to my good old friend on this row. The way that I saw Billy Goat robbing this tree on this road last summer was just the craziest thing I had ever seen before. I had never seen anything like that, like sending somebody to fly across the country and then you don't show up even though you supposed to show up. Where you done told somebody you performing with Cardi B, but you don't end up showing up to perform with Cardi B. I mean, it was just so much that happened last summer around Ro and Billy Goat Rock that I was trying to warn Shamar not to even go down that road, because I said I saw this before and I said you seem like a good dude, at least based on what I've seen so far. I said I don't want you making that same mistake. Even I saw one time Room Shaker had got up there and Room Shaker was telling him, well, look, you seem like a good dude. You don't need to go get mixed up with Billy Goat Rob, because Billy Goat Rob, he ain't gonna have your best interest at heart. 9 times out of 10, he only doing it for content so that he could have something to speak about or some type of storyline. Because even with the whole road thing last summer, a lot of that Billy Goat Rob said was for content. The same thing with whatever bromance he had with Lemon. Content sake. Well, long story short, Shamar didn't listen to nobody. And so yesterday when I was tuning in to Pizarro's, I learned that I guess Billy Goat Ryder gave Shamar an ultimatum. So y'all, they only been conversing, I would assume, through Instagram for about 2 to 3 weeks now. And already Billy Goat Rod has given Shamar an ultimatum. Billy Goat Rod does not like that Shamar is still cool with Lemon. He doesn't like the fact that Lemon is still able to be on Shamar's panel. He does not like the fact that Lemon and Shamar have been collaborating about Shamar potentially being a co-host for the AI competition that Lemon plans to be hosting in August. Essentially, Billy Goat Rod gave Shamar an ultimatum and said, either you gonna be trying to build something with me, or you gonna be dealing with my ops. Pick one. You need to pick a side. Shamar wasn't trying to pick a side. Shamar was just trying to collaborate. Shamar was just trying to do whatever he could do to enhance his channel. I think he wanted to be a part of the AI competition with Lim and all of this, but he was forced to pick a side, and I guess he chose the wrong side. Because with him choosing the wrong side, I think I heard that over there at YouTube cameras, Billy Goat Rob was talking about how he gave this man an ultimatum. Then from YouTube cameras to Pizarro's, he was talking about he gave that man an ultimatum. Essentially, Billy Goat Rod did a whole world tour for the last, I would say, 24 to 48 hours, letting the entire beef sector and all of the people know that he is no longer dealing with Shamar because Shamar don't know how to choose. Billy Goat Rod said that he chose himself to the point to where he don't feel like anybody that he is seriously building anything romantic with should be affiliated or associated with any of his ops. He said Lemon is his op. He said if him and Shamar is gonna meet in real life, then there is no reason for Shamar to even be trying to entertain Lemon or entertain anybody who disliked him. To me, it just sounded like a whole bunch of blah 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 controlling shit. I can't stand the controlling motherfucker. It sounds like some controlling shit way too soon, which is what I've been told Shamar 3 weeks ago. I told him, I said, that's controlling because when Billy Goat Ross started having a problem with me clicking Shamar's link over there, me, about people clicking the link, oh, I knew that it was a control issue. Because, like, what in the hell? Now you trying to dictate who can click the man link, who can talk to the man, this, that, and the third. And I was mind blown. But specifically, after my last time clicking Shamar's link about 3 weeks ago, I said, I ain't going to click his link no more. I said, now I'm going to watch from the clouds. I said, but I ain't going to click his link. I said, because I ain't got time to be going through this mess with Billy Goat Rock about Billy Goat Rock trying to dictate where people could be and all of this. And Shamar's just very, very soft spoken, at least in relation to this. He seemed to be pretty soft spoken to where he just really didn't have anything to say about the circumstance. He didn't have anything to say about Billy Goat Raw having an issue with me clicking this link, about Billy Goat Raw having an issue with Room Shaker clicking this link, Billy Goat Raw having an issue with Lemon clicking the link. You know, he didn't have too much to say. So I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna let them do whatever. And I moved right along. But so now ultimatums is being thrown out here. And now Shamar said that he respects Billy Goat Ross. He respects his wishes. That's what he said. He said he respects his wishes. He respects his feelings because Billy Goat Ross does not want him hanging out with people. That's the first and telltale sign of like an abusive and controlling relationship. But then not only that, y'all, it shows a level of insecurity. I don't care how many of y'all out here that really is like, oh, Billy Goat Raw, he is confident. Billy Goat Raw is this and Billy Goat Raw is that. Billy Goat Raw is insecure. Billy Goat Rock got upset with me because I was in Pizarro's. Good morning to Hershey and everybody. CMAC TV said I would have told him to pay me not to participate in the AI challenge. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Yvonne A. But Billy Goat Rock is insecure because that just yells insecurity. When I sit back and I think about it, y'all, and this is just me asking y'all the question: has Billy Goat Rock even been in a serious homosexual relationship ever in his life? No, I'm not talking about him prostituting his booty hole on Twitter. No, I'm not talking about the men that he picked up off the Grindr app. No, I'm not talking about any of these random ass strangers around Detroit that he met at the damn swinger party or at the damn download a shindig. No, I'm not talking about the men that he has lied on saying that he had a sexual encounter with. I'm talking about a real homosexual relationship. Has he ever had one, y'all? And this is especially to all my Umar sector folks. Yvonne, you came right on time. Ray Triggs, you here right on time. Has the man ever been in a real serious committed homosexual relationship? Good morning, Deborah Mayo. The reason why I ask that is because the man is behaving just like somebody who is in a new something and don't know how to act. Had he actually been in a real, serious, committed homosexual relationship, all of this insecurity and trying to be in control of who this man talked to, who this man could collaborate on YouTube with, whose panel this man could hit, all of this kind of stuff, that mess would be out the window if he was secure within himself. But because this is his first, I think his first serious encounter where it ain't quote unquote gay for pay like what he say, um he don't know how to handle it. He don't know how to handle it. So now he trying to control that man. Meanwhile, Shamar done been in countless homosexual relationships. So Shamar, from the outside looking in, appears to be a lot more laid back about the situation than Billy Goat Rye is. And I think that's why Billy Goat Rye is trying to dictate and control everything. Now, Billy Goat Rye got mad at me typing these things up in Pizarro chat. And so he turned around and said to me, that I've never had a successful relationship. So what am I talking about with him? He said it's not healthy. The relationships that I had where the cop had to be called on me or where I had to go to court. Y'all, just the fact that he said that, thank you, Olivia. I appreciate it. Thank you for contributing to my goal. Just the fact that he thought that he was throwing a jab at me by saying that is ridiculous. Because first and foremost, what is unhealthy is only conversing with this man for less than 3 weeks and you already trying to tell him who he can and can't speak to. That's unhealthy. That's very unhealthy, Billy Goat Rock. So you could never tell me about what is healthy a relationship and what is an unhealthy relationship because everything that you are displaying right now with Shamar appears to be unhealthy. Then he talking about going to court. I told him, oh, thank you, Yvonne. Let me see what Yvonne A said. Glad I caught you live. Leave me out of this. Yvonne, y'all know Billy Goat Rock. He over there from y'all sector. Y'all know him with his insecure ass. But thank you so much for contributing to my goal. I appreciate it. But the fact is, Billy Goat Rock, he talking about that I had to go to court, and I'm thinking to myself, I said, this is how I know that you've never been in any serious homosexual relationship or anything. Because even the fact that you talking about me having to go to court with one of my exes, you telling me that like it's a flex. I said, no, that's proof to you that it was a real situation. It was a real relationship, you stupid bitch. Y'all, it's crazy to me how these newbies, when they come through and they be really thinking that they gonna check me. And then when I counted him on that, then he tried to call me a virgin. And I'm like, how am I a virgin? But you just thought that you was throwing a dig at me by saying that I had to go to court behind situations. Make that make sense. Make that make sense, y'all. But either way, I'll be willing to bet. Well, no, I'll be willing to bet about 98% of the people that have had serious long-term relationships, if and marriages, that their relationships ended in a court situation. I'm almost sure of it, Billy Goat, right? Because those were real situations. Those were real circumstances. Those were real life events. If there were children involved in any type of relationship, Billy Goat Raw, there is a likelihood that it could end up in a court situation, Billy Goat Raw. Welcome to adulthood. Welcome to real life. Welcome to vindictive women. It happens. But Billy Goat Raw, he thought that he was flexing, wanted to bring that up, and I'm thinking to myself, really? And then when that didn't work, and I had to point out the fact that he has these unhealthy requirements of Shamar, then he said, I'm a virgin. Have y'all ever heard that I was a virgin? I said, when the hell did that happen for me to be that? So then he set up on Pizarro's platform and began to lie roast. You know, when all else fails, they lie roast. Child, now you lie roast and I'm a virgin. And what else? What else? I don't get no pussy. And what else? I ain't never had a real lesbian relationship. And what else? Unbelievable. But either way, I don't know if Billy Goat Rod had this conversation with Shamar ahead of time, but something in me wants to say that he did not, because it first came out on YouTube cameras, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think when it first started coming out on YouTube cameras, I believe, but I'm not 100% certain, that I want to say He-Man Dimples went and told Shamar to go look at a few things. And because He-Man Dimples put Shamar on to looking at a few encounters and exchanges online, that's how Shamar ended up seeing anything that Billy Goat Rod had been saying. So there's that. Now, I wish Shamar nothing but the best. I believe that Billy Goat Rod is insecure, and I believe that Billy Goat Rod is intimidated by whatever situation or friendship or YouTube ship or whatever could build between Shamar and Lemon. I honestly think that Billy Goat Rod is worried that he does not want Lemon to make Shamar feel like Lemon used to make him feel. Y'all know, in them situations where it's like you don't want your ex to move on, or somebody who in your mind was your ex, because you like, ooh, I don't want him to treat this other person like how he treated me. I don't want him to wine and dine this person like how he wine and dine me. I think that's how Billy Goat Rob is looking at this circumstance. Billy Goat Rob was forced out of the closet behind his infatuation with Lemon, behind him hoping for and wishing for something that he was hoping could be. And now to see that Lemon is showing interest in Shamar, he can't handle it. Now let me move on. The next part of my life outside of the gay dude, well, I'm still on the gay dudes because I'm about to talk about another gay dude. I'm sure that y'all probably saw the live that's been circulating across the YouTube today. Well, last night. I'm sure that y'all probably actually peeked in and witnessed Brian in the hospital again. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? Now, with Brian in this new hospital stay, y'all, I was in Pizarro's live and all of a sudden, somebody had typed it up in her back chat that Brian is back up in the hospital. They typed in a back chat, said Pizarro, oh my goodness, hurry. He's in the hospital, something is wrong. Pizarro, being Pizarro, was about ready to fall out. You know how the older ladies be falling out in church? How they be like, oh no, Lord, now Lord, no, not my big baby, not my big baby. That's what Pizarro was up there up on that spaceship panel about to do. Y'all, I just had to sit back and I just had to look at my phone and look at, oh, my big baby, not my big baby, he's sick, my big baby. Y'all, I just looked at him. I was ready to pick up this phone and throw it. Good morning, Kimberly Black. Well, anyway, I knew that what they had typed up in that back chat was related to him because I had already been seeing it shared and circulated on here. So I left out of Pizarro's live, went over there and took a gander at his video to see what was going on because I was trying to get to the bottom of everything. Once I went over there to see what was going on, what I witnessed is that, unfortunately, y'all, another I told you so moment. I wouldn't dare put I told you so up in this title. That's the reason why I just had to title it with these emojis and keep it moving. So, as many of you all know, last year Brian got sick. It was around this time last year, actually, because if I'm not mistaken, he got sick right before the Vegas trip happened. It was right before the 2.0 people went to Vegas. He got sick. He was hospitalized. He had to be hospitalized for a few days, if not a week or two. Doctors said that he had blood clots in his leg. He had to have a couple of procedures in order to remove the blood clots. Good morning, Melissa. Honest Row was being a good friend to Brian. That was when they was playing this pity pat little love game with each other where they both had crushes on each other, but they were still pretending like it was a friendship, but they still had these crushes, this type of thing. Even with the doctors advising Brian that he needed to stay in the hospital, that he needs to be monitored, that they need to take a look at a few things, Brian came live to the beef sector. He clicked Rose panel several times. It was Brian, Rowe, and Sassy up there talking. And essentially, Brian was letting us know about the status of his health, about how he was not working because he was in the hospital, about, I believe, his rent was coming up to be paid. I believe it was this time last year, y'all, because I feel like it was the July rent that we helped him pay. I ain't even lying. I want to say it was the July rent that the beef sector got the money together to help him pay. If not the July rent, then it had to have been the August rent. But I know it was this time last year. B Sector raised some money. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Brian said it was like $2,000, if not more, that was raised for him to help him pay his bills, help him pay whatever he needed to pay so that he could stay in the hospital and take care of himself. Only for him to get the donations, and he decided to leave the hospital against the doctor's orders. Doctors wanted him to stay there so that they could run a few more tests and things. But he felt like he knew better. Not to mention, we ain't going to forget that he was also over there having them late night phone calls over there with Roe, where he was having a full-on erection while he was in the hospital bed. Remember that story that came out this time last year? Remember he was over there dealing with blood clots, but Roe had told him a story about Roe and one of his exes and how one of the exes couldn't fit inside of him, and that gave a whole full-blown erection in the hospital. To the point to where Brian left the hospital against the doctor's orders. He wanted to go home. He said he was ready to go back to work. He said that he ain't trying to lay up in no hospital and go with what the doctors say. He said he got Jesus. But most importantly, y'all, I believe Brian was rushing home so that he could be in the peace and quiet of the comfort of his bedroom so he could beat his meat while he was on the phone with Honest Row. Talk about having your priorities all fucked up. Talk about having your priorities all fucked up to where you would rather get your rocks off than get them clocks out your legs. Messed up priorities. Well, anyway. Honest Row damn near stopped being friends with Brian. They went through this whole big argument, a private argument and public argument, where Roe was mad, pissed off, said that Brian needs to take care of himself, said that Brian should have stayed at the hospital, put himself first. Roe was saying, your job can wait. What's the point of having a job if you ain't going to take care of yourself and you might end up losing your life? It was a whole big thing. Because Honest Row is a friend of mine, I've known Honest Row the longest. Not to mention me and Honest Row done exchange numbers and all that stuff. And we've talked to each other on a human personal level before. Several times, actually. I felt bad for Row, and I didn't like how that was handled, but I just sat there and watched. Then I also watched Brian throw it up in the people's faces about what they donated. I remember him cussing out half of the people that donated to him because many of the same people who donated to his cash out to ensure that he could pay his rent, to ensure that he could pay his bills while he was staying in the hospital like the doctor recommended. Once some of those same people realized that he left the hospital against the doctor's orders and the doctor's wishes, they had something to say. And instead of him saying, hey, y'all are right, I shouldn't have did that, he came and cussed the people out who had just donated to him. He cussed them people out. He spoke about the amount of money he got. He cussed them out about them being generous, told them that they don't have the right to be able to input and tell him what to do. All of this. Told them people that they ain't God. All of this. He said he knew better. Now, just me being on the outside looking in, y'all, this is how I feel. that the people donated. I believe that he was quite ungrateful. And I believe he talked to them people like shit when they voiced their opinion about the fact that he left that hospital after they had donated. Fast forward to Brian on his weight loss tip. You can't take that away from him because he seems to have gotten out of the hospital and tried to get his life on track, y'all. I think he was taking Ozempic or Mounjaro or some type of shot like that. And, he was working out, he was walking, these types of things. But the problem is, he still left before the doctors told him to go. I remember even when he left, there was this whole talk about if something were to happen to him later, y'all, jog y'all's memories. There was this whole debate, and Jay Wilson started it over there, that if something were to happen to Brian, he could not sue the hospital because he left the hospital against the doctor's wishes, against the doctor's orders. So if he did leave and end up getting sick later, the hospital would not be liable because he left when they told him to stay. So now he back in the hospital again. Now it's even worse. Okay, Jeannie G, thank you so much. Jeannie G said goals. Thank you, Jeannie G, and have a great day at work. Have a great day at work today, Jeannie G. But so now he had found himself back up in the hospital again, same blood clots. Now, this time last year, remember, y'all, he was trying to leave the hospital and fell out in the hospital parking lot to where people located him and was able to get him back up in the hospital, and then he still left again. Well, now this time, what he said in the video from yesterday is that he was walking down the highway of his apartment complex and he passed out. Luckily, there were neighbors around to be able to see this situation where he passed out, and they were able to call an ambulance for an ambulance to come and get to him. The problem is, though, this falling out that he spoke of happened on Tuesday. Good morning, youngest. He fell out on Tuesday, according to him. His neighbors called the ambulance. The ambulance came, picked him up, transported him to the hospital, but he has no memory or knowledge of any of that. He said in the video yesterday that the only thing that he recalls is him coming to in the hospital on Wednesday, and his family was around him. Imagine passing out on Tuesday and you don't even remember anything or come to until the following day. So his family was around him there, taking care of him or whatever. So he said that he has blood clots in his legs. He said that his legs are extremely swollen. And he said he was going through kidney failure. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but swollen legs just don't happen overnight, do they? Like, is it just like you wake up one morning and your legs that damn swollen to where you end up passing out? Or is that something that progressively gets worse and worse and worse over time? Even kidney failure. That's not something that just happened overnight. Isn't that something that's just progressing and progressing? And the reason why I'm asking that is because, in my opinion, from the outside looking in, and I'm no medical person, I'm no doctor, we all know. But from the outside looking in, it seems like there had to have been these warning signs of these types of issues that had to have been being ignored. Then when I sit back and I think about the countless panels, what Brian got up there to try to drag me, On Pizarro's spaceship, it happened countless times. One of my last times being at Jay Wilson, Brian got up there to fight with me. And I think it's funny how Jay Wilson did this whole grandstanding live last night to make sure that he was the first person to go live to talk about this circumstance. And he wants to chastise Brian for Brian being on YouTube fighting and arguing on panels with other people. But as long as Brian was on his panel fighting with other people, including fighting with me, Jay Wilson didn't tell Brian, no, stop, Brian. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health. Jay Wilson didn't say, you need to be worried about your health, Brian. Don't be worried about trying to be on my panel to fight J.Dunn. Don't worry about being on my panel to fight Treasure Lane. Don't worry about this. As long as Brian's sick ass was on Jay Wilson's panel fighting everybody, making Jay Wilson a coin and a click in a view, Jay Wilson didn't have no problem with that man, as sick as he is, up there fighting. But now last night, Jay Wilson carrying Brian should have been off the internet. Brian should have got off YouTube, get off of here, get off that. Jay Wilson, as long as he was feet in your pockets over there, that man could pop a blood vessel up in his forehead and stroke the hell out. As long as you was getting a click in the view and a coin, you didn't give a damn. But now you give a damn, you be so fake. And good morning, Michelle. It's quite easy to wait till the man wind up hospitalized with potential kidney failure and kidney damage to then talk about what he should have been doing. Meanwhile, he sat up on your platform night after night on multiple occasions, doing what he should not do, and you ain't have nothing to say. Good morning, Black Pearl. Even over there up on Pizarro's, it was times where Brian come up on Pizarro's, argue and fight with me. Now I'm arguing and fighting with him because I remember I had to call him a grizzly bear. Brian jumped on Pizarro's trying to remind me about me being on probation. At least he wasn't on probation up in his 30s. I said, but you up in your 30s with blood clots. People be like, J.Dunn, that's harsh. You shouldn't say it like that. The truth can be harsh sometimes, but that don't stop it from being the truth. I told him. He thought that he was flexing and getting at me by saying that he never had to be on probation in his 30s. But you in your 30s with compression socks and circulation issues and blood clots and swollen legs and all this. But nobody jumped in to tell him, hey, you need to stop. No. So now he there at the hospital. Now again, the smoking weed, taking shots, getting drunk, all this stuff. I know at least around Mother's Day time, so that was in May, that he was doing the wrong things, drinking alcohol and all this kind of stuff when he need to be drinking his water. Speaking of drinking water, let me drink mine. The nerve of me to be sitting up here fussing about him need to drink his water, and I done been talking to y'all for 1 hour and I ain't drunk mine. Had to drink mine. But so anyway, I just witnessed a lot of people just watch him do whatever. Even how I remember that Brian did a lot of this craziness upon Jay Wilson's, and as long as Jay Wilson was benefiting financially, he didn't mind that man being sick as a dog up there showing his black ass. It's because remember when the whole flagging wars was happening, where I reviewed part of Jay Wilson's live, then Ness reviewed the live, and then I struck Ness for the live, and then Ness tried to reverse the strike and try to strike it back, and ended up striking me and Jay Wilson, and then she had to reverse those strikes. Remember when all that happened? The live in particular was a live in which Brian got up there and showed his natural black ass talking crazy, making Jay Wilson a cute coin. Good morning, Sophie. He made Jay Wilson his money. Jay Wilson ain't have nothing to say. Next reviewed the live, talking about how Brian dragged, how Brian did this, and it was a whole bunch of situation with the flagging. And now Brian over there sick, and where's the finesser? Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now, where are the finessers? Where are the finessers currently now that Brian has this situation going on with his leg? That's what I want to know. And I will wait. I will wait. It's unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable to me, but it just seems like to me that people know that this man is sick and they know what he should and shouldn't be doing, but it's only if they are benefiting financially. If they are benefiting financially with what he is doing, then they don't care to tell him. At this particular point, now he done got himself to this point. And I'm like, okay, it takes me back to my live that I did on Wednesday, where I really couldn't understand how in the world do I know that people say that they're going to pray for other people on here, but sometimes you have to look at these people as strangers with their own lives, and you have to wonder what is the point in praying for them if they still gonna do whatever they want to do as a grown ass adult. What's the point in it? Even I was saying, sometimes you just have to look at these people as being people on the internet. That's what you have to look at them as, people, as just people up on the internet. When you start getting so invested in the people to the point to where you trying to pray for them and you trying to do XYZ for them, but they're going to do what they want to do as grown ass people, then you wasting your time. And even if Brian recovers and gets out of this, first off, the question is he going to stay there and get the treatment that he should have been got a year ago? Is he going to get the treatment that he should have been stayed and been patient enough to get? Then the next question would be, if he does get out, is he going to come out and still try to cuss out all the people? Thank you, Lynn T. Let me see what Lynn T just said. Good morning, Jake and chat. Just woke up but listening. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you too. Thank you to everybody. Thank you so much for contributing to my goals this morning. I appreciate y'all. And good morning. Let's have a kiki. So yeah, it's a lot of things that just kind of just go through my mind. But at the end of the day, I can't blame the people on here because we can't control Brian. Then I was listening to Jay Wilson was saying that Brian was actually over there trying to wish death upon Treasure Lane, saying that Treasure Lane should get cancer again. I know that Brian done, on countless occasions, talked about the death of my mother. I know that. I also know on countless occasions that Brian talked about Newbie and Newbie seizures. He laughed at it. Did a whole remixing of the seizure situation. He did all of these things in relation to Newbie. And then now here we go. Now here we go with him having all this other health problems. Having all of this health problems. With him having all these health issues, he done came and talked about the deaths of other people and what they had going on, just all types of hogwash. And it's like, sir, you got to get your health in order. But then this should be a telltale but cautionary tale that if the doctor tell your black ass that you need to stay in the hospital, you need to stay in the hospital. Because you don't know better than the doctor. You don't know better than the doctor. But so many times people think that they know better than the doctor. If the doctor say that you need to stay there for another week or two, then you need to listen. Michelle said, I say all the time, even on here, you have to watch what you say. I'm sorry, Brian is grown and I don't have ish for him. I agree. Les Kiki said, the word teaches us to pray for one another regardless. Les Kiki, we can pray for one another regardless. But see, my problem is, Les Kiki, I use my prayers for the people in my real life. My real life, not the people in the computer. I think the word, when we read the word, in the word, God is talking about, or at least my opinion, in the word, in the context in which you are speaking, they talking about the people that we walk outside our front door and see. They talking about the stranger that's right there at the corner store that we can actually touch. They are talking about our neighbor that's right next door. They are talking about the little kid that's riding the bike right down the road. They ain't talking about no damn trolls and some troll pages on the damn internet. And they damn show ain't talking about no demonic ass heathen that's in the computer virtually. Now, I'm almost willing to bet the Lord didn't have that in mind. The Lord didn't have none of that in mind when the word was written. None of that was in mind, in my opinion. It just wasn't. I think it's people like Let's Have a Kiki that really sometimes confuses real life with these people up in a computer. Mm-mm. If I could use my prayer on the people in my real life, then why would I waste my prayer on somebody like Brian? I guess that's the next question. Do you believe that prayers can be wasted? Do you believe in a such thing as a wasted prayer? Or do you believe that, you should just pray infinitely for everybody on all social media? Across all social media, across whatever, you feel that you need to be able to pray for them? That's the question. Ain't no way I'm wasting my prayer on Brian when as soon as he get out of the hospital in a week, he gonna be cussing me out. No, I ain't wasting my prayer on that. I ain't wasting my prayer on that. I want to pray for somebody that have the best intentions. Pray for somebody who is worthy of it. This time last year when he was up in the hospital, I might have gave him a positive prayer and a positive thought because I knew that Roe would be highly affected if something were to happen to Brian. And because on the strength of Roe, I was wishing well wishes, hopefully he come out of it, but I refused to give him $1. I was not donating nothing to the Cash App. But even once he came out, he turned around and cussed me out and some of everybody else out. After we done prayed for him, after folks done donated to him, after people gave kindness of their heart, he came and cussed the people out. He came and cussed the people out. Let me see. Michelle said, he seemed like he stopped taking blood thinners. Well, but that was the weird thing because to me, it seemed like he was on a whole cocktail of medication. But I wonder if he was just more so geared towards the weight loss portion of things, because I heard people say that they had seen him in his videos and he looked like he had lost weight. Specifically, I remember Lady Nika saying that on one of his videos, he looked like he had lost weight. She said that she could tell it in his face and she could tell it, from his shoulders and his chest and stuff, that she could tell that he had lost a good amount of weight. But I'm thinking that he was assuming that weight loss is what he needed primarily. But it seemed like what who is that? Oh, Michelle was saying about the blood thinners. If he was on blood thinners, then yeah, he definitely got to take them. Spicy Dicey said, God is listening regardless. What Brian does after you pray for him won't fall on you. Les Kiki said, I believe that we pray for one another and leave it in God's hands. And then Michelle said, he might have to get off his shot. I have to take mine. Huh. Lynn T said, in my opinion, if God says to pray for your enemies, I can pray for strangers. It won't hurt me at all. And Spicy Dicey said, but when you pray, make sure it's sincere. Once you have prayed, it's out of your hands. Good morning, Barry Addison. Sophie said, J.Dunn, does this ideology applies to love of love as well? I mean, to whoever. To whoever. That's just my thought about it. That's my thought about it. And yeah, like even with Love of Love being sick, Love of Love have got on here to still be trying to cuss people out. But that's one thing. Love of Love came on here trying to cuss me out. And once I refused to argue with her or get down on that type of level with her, then she kind of moved on. So now I'm able to be on the panel with her and I don't have to worry about any type of foolishness with her. Good morning, Just Lovely. Bloop said, J.Dunn, remember when he talked about Nika's family and how they passed away? Of course, Bloop. Everybody was outraged about that video that he did. So many people were doing commentary about it. And then I remember he either privated it or deleted the video. All of that mess is crazy. But then it makes you wonder if he was just mentally not in his right state of mind while he was doing this stuff. Then it's like misery loves company. And then in the video, he was talking about his depression, y'all. Didn't I tell y'all that people be getting on here projecting? How many times he done came and called other people miserable? I know he get on here and call me miserable any chance that he get. Only for him to be up in that live talking about how he done been depressed and he let himself go. So that means you the one that's miserable over there, but for the last 2 months or so, you on here spewing that at me, trying to convince me that I'm living in misery. Y'all, it's mind-blowing to look at some of this stuff, and all you can do is just shake your head. On the one hand, it kind of just leaves you speechless, because when you look at this, I think the interesting part about YouTube and about social media, the internet, all of that, is it truly gives you a glimpse of life that you never would have just on any other level. And the reason why I say that is because it allows you to see when somebody has projected, because then later on you see that they projected. And just even just being in the hospital alone, that's the worst time to press your live button. Remember, it was just a week ago, he was at the chiropractor and he was talking about how the ATM took his money. He was at the ATM trying to get money out of there, and he put his card in and it was supposed to spit out some money for him, and it didn't spit out the right amount, so he was about ready to raise hell with the people at the bank about the money. And then now this. Y'all is sad. But you could talk until you blue in the face. You can talk until you blue in the face to some of these people, y'all, and all you doing is wasting your words. Michelle said he do it for cash apps, and Bloop said, "Oh, J.Dunn, he just took out a loan too. How he gonna pay it back?" I didn't know he took out no loan. When I was looking at Jay Wilson's replay, I was seeing people talk about some type of loan, but I didn't even know he took out a loan. But see, that's the problem. Why in the hell is it YouTube's business that he took out a loan? This is what I'm saying. Exactly when do you leave some of your personal stuff for you? Like, why is it the business of anybody on this application that Brian went and took out a loan? How do y'all know that? Well, y'all know it probably because he came on here and said it. Why is he telling y'all that he taking out loans? Like, what in the world is going on? Waiting on the settlement. Bloop said something about the car accident and changing of attorneys. Lord. Even with him being in the hospital, why am I talking about him being in the hospital this morning? Well, I'm talking about it because he went live from the hospital bed and told us all this stuff, even to the point to where he wanted to show us his sister was there, made his sister put a cover over her face so that he could put the camera over there by his sister. I mean, just a lot. Showing and giving a lot of information to us that we truly don't need to know. We don't need to know any of this information. We don't need to know any of these things. And that's a fact. I've listened to people talk about the beef sector content is low and dry. For me, if people feel like the beef sector is dry and they want to put their actual personal lives and medical health issues on public display for whatever reason, then I guess it's worthy of weighing in on and talking about, because we was all here last year when he left and them doctors said don't leave. I think he said that he's supposed to have surgery. I don't know if he having surgery this morning. I think it's this morning. I have to go back and look at the video again, y'all. Good morning, Lee Pepper. I think he's supposed to have surgery this morning. I will pray for a successful surgery. But outside of that, y'all, if the doctor tell you got to do this, you got to do it. Blood clots are real. The lack of circulation, that's real. Some folks don't be satisfied until they don't take heed to the doctor's warnings, and then they be walking around or be forced to be around here without a limb, missing something off them that had to be amputated and all this. It's like, At some point, you got to draw the line. But don't draw the line because the man is sick and shut in, Jay Wilson. You need to be always drawing that line up in the sand, even when he is well and healthy or seemingly healthy on your panel, cussing people out and wishing cancer back on Treasure Lane and all this other weird ass shit. The shit is weird as hell. And Jay Wilson replay, the people was like, well, how old is he? Y'all, if I'm not mistaken, he right at about 35, 36. He ain't no spring chicken. Mid to late 30s. I would put him at about 35, 36, y'all. So, I mean, he old enough to know better. That's how old he is. Old enough to know better. I'm trying to think. What else did I want to tell y'all about? I got to look back at my notes. Oh, let me move on from Brian and go to my next notes. So, yesterday, Ken Nola News did a sit-down interview with Envy. It seems that Ken Nola News and Lemon are at odds again, in which Lemon allowed Lil Buckwheat to be on Lemon's panel, and Lil Buckwheat was doxing Ken's wife. According to Ken Nola News, Lil Buckwheat was on Lemon's platform and was saying Ken's wife's name up there, and Ken told Lemon to make Lil Buckwheat stop, but Lemon really didn't have anything to say. Lil Buckwheat still was saying stuff about Ken's wife, so Ken threatened to snatch up that channel over there for Lemon. So Envy did the interview yesterday with Ken Nola to ask Ken Nola the ins and outs about the channel, to ask Ken Nola if Ken Nola was serious about taking Lemon's channel, and all these things. Ken Nola said, yes, he was dead serious about what he said. He said he is getting sick and tired of Lil Buckwheat thinking that he could dox his wife or play with his wife over there at Lemon. If I'm not mistaken, Ken said that it was one of Lemon's lives previously where Lil Buckwheat switched his picture on his avatar from Lil Buckwheat's picture to Ken's wife's picture. And Ken said that he vocalized that to Lemon, like, hey, I don't like this little boy playing with my wife's picture up on your live, up on his avatar. And Lemon was supposed to have nipped that in the bud, but I guess he didn't. Ken said with that particular live, he could have struck that live in relation to his wife because his wife's picture was on there and his wife is not on YouTube. But Ken let that live make it. Then I guess now with this last doxing thing that recently happened with Lil Buckwheat saying stuff about Ken's wife, if not saying her government information on Lemon's panel, Ken was saying that he was gonna strike him. I don't know if Envy was trying to broker peace or what Envy was trying to do. I'm not sure why that required an interview, but I mean, it was content. And I tuned into that interview at least for the first hour. And then I got busy and I started doing other things. But at least for the first hour, I was tuned in to see exactly what they were talking about. And so Ken said that Lil Buckwheat got one more time to dox him, his wife, or play with his wife or his daughter on Lemon's platform, and then he snatching Lemon's channel. Ken also said that in the past month, he done snatched 4 channels. And I'm trying to think of the 4 channels that he snatched. What channels? In the last month. But I know he be over there dealing with the street sector people too, so ain't no telling. Maybe he been over there messing with them. I don't know. But he said in the last month, he done took 4 channels. And he said if Lemon don't get his panel in order and control of Buckwheat, he coming for that channel. Which I don't get why Lemon has a problem with speaking up to Lil Buckwheat about certain things. Because we all know if it's anybody else that did any of that stuff up on there, Lemon to have an issue. He would. But I think because he has this fondness and this dare I say affinity for Lil Buckwheat, because they both from California and I think they both stay with their mamas, then that's why he let Lil Buckwheat do all of this. But one thing too that I noticed as well was I went to sleep, but I woke up this morning. I tried the red ball, and I mean red ball, like skip around through Lemon's Live just to see if anything was there. And I did notice Envy on the panel. So I red ball to when Envy first got up there, and I saw Envy up there, but from what I saw, I didn't notice Envy telling Lemon about the interview that he did with Kim. And I was thinking, okay, well, Envy is on Lemon's panel, so Envy gonna let Lemon know about this interview that he did, and I was assuming that Envy would even try to give Lemon a warning, like warn Lemon about Lil Buckwheat, like you probably need to, control this dude when he up on your panel, when he on the link, because your channel has been threatened. Yes, Ken is serious, so you need to be trying to protect yourself and protect your channel. But for the part that I heard, I did not hear Envy advise Lemon of any of that. It was almost like he knew this information and he didn't share it with Lemon. And I'm like, well, Lemon should be the person that you would want to share this stuff with, but he didn't. Lee Pepper said he needs to lose weight, period. It's not healthy. And then Yvonne is saying because he and Pastor had discussed the loan many, many times, talking about loans and buying tiny house or something like that. Yvonne said, Envy show yesterday was a hot mess in my opinion. His past couple of shows were good, but not yesterday. Dang, the show ended up being bad. I watched the first hour, and now I'm getting like Pizarro. I still got Michelle comment up here. Y'all know how Pizarro put one comment up on her screen and forget that it's up there? That's what I just did to Michelle. My bad. So let me see. Yvonne A. Envy show yesterday was a hot mess in my opinion. His past couple of shows were good, but not yesterday. The first hour that I saw seemed to be decent, but maybe I have to catch on the replay to see what I missed on why it was a hot mess. I have to see. Soapy said he does not care, period. His channel will be gone. It's coming. People don't like him internally and externally. Yvonne said, well, it got worse after the first hour. Okay, I'll go see. And yeah, Ken has calmed down. But it's funny because even when you try to be calm and you try to be a little bit nicer and you don't push the gas on people like you typically would, people will take that kindness as a weakness. I watch people take my kindness for a weakness regularly at the beginning of this year. Y'all know, like it was February and March around that time when I was coming in peace. I wasn't trying to bother nobody. I'm minding my business. I'm trying to be nice. Let me be nice and, not make anybody's life worse or anything like that up on here. And they took all that and viewed it as a weakness. Until then, I had to come through and clap back on some folks, and then channels was lost, and Patreons was lost, and videos was taken down, and all this kind of stuff. But why do people have to treat you like that? When people trying to be nice, just allow people to be nice and keep it moving, move on, keep it moving right along. But yeah, I gotta see what I missed over there at Envy's. So that right there, I just thought it was kind of fake of Envy to have the interview and then go to Lemon's panel, but not mention to Lemon about what was said on the interview or to give Lemon a heads up. But maybe Envy already tried to give Lemon a heads up and give Lemon a warning. And maybe Envy is just to the point to where Envy knows that even if he gave a warning or a heads up, Lemon ain't gonna listen. Lemon gonna continue to do what Lemon wants to do. So maybe Envy just think it's pointless to even try to warn him. That could be it. Now, my last point that I have on my list here is this whole first lady thing that Code is trying to do. So Binary Code, he think he is such a slick McSlickster. He has now decided that he wants to do this first lady competition on his channel. Now we have to remember that about a year and a half ago, when the Umar sector they first came over here and merged, the Miss O was wanting to be the first lady over there with Code, and that's how that term first came to be, because the Miss O was saying she was the first lady. I remember it because I told the Miss O back then. I said, the Miss O, I said, you don't know these men. Stop saying that you the first lady on their channel when you don't even know who they are. And honestly, that ended up panning out when it came to Code, because Code and D Miss O ended up kind of having a few hiccups and bumps in the road. And now, even today, D Miss O is closer to Billy Goat Raw than she is to Code. But so that first lady thing happened then. Now Code is want Pizarro to be the first lady of his channel. But is it truly him want Pizarro to be the first lady? Or does he recognize that he can gain so much clout off of her presence at his channel? Code said as the first lady, she'll be able to click his link whenever, she can tune in whenever. He'll stop his whole panel and let her talk. He said that he'll send her $5 a week as first lady, to be first lady of his channel. With y'all, $5 a week, that's $20. He said on the first of every month he'll send her a $20 cash out for to be first lady. Essentially, he is willing to pay her to have the keys to his channel and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just thinking to myself, and the reason why I got $5 a week, y'all, is because he said that it would be enough money for her to buy a Starbucks drink every 2 weeks. My thought is a Starbucks drink, especially a good one, could run you about $10. So if you're going to be able to afford a Starbucks drink every other week, then that's about $5 a week, which when I brought out the calculator, that came up to $260 for the course of a year. $260 for the course of a year. Y'all, that really ain't shit if we gonna be honest. So it, to me, it's like, so you trying to offer her all of these things to be the first lady of your channel, but you ain't gonna truly just be honest and call a spade and say that you really just want her presence on there. You want the clout and being able to call her the first lady. You want her to be able to come on your panel anytime and join any discussion so that you can get numbers over there. Meanwhile, you only going to be pouring into this lady $5 a damn week. If we even think about the $5 of the week aspect, do you know that if we truly broke that all the way down, Pizarro got Pizarro got 4 daughters, right? And then herself would be number 5. So essentially, Code is proposing giving Pizarro $1 a week, $1 for her, and $1 for each of her daughters each week. And in turn, she got to be the first lady over there to help boost his channel and to help boost his monetized views, to help boost his memberships, to help boost everything on his channel. $1. Do y'all hear me? $1. And now he was getting mad because she didn't so easily and so willingly fall into that trap of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the first lady over here, I'm about to do it and all this. She is been trolling the hell out of him with it, and he been getting really sensitive and emotional about it. But I'm thinking to myself, the woman ain't dumb. I mean, they say that she only got a 3rd grade education and she can't read, but that don't mean she. Well, I had to say, they say that she got a 3rd grade education. I ain't need to do Pizarro like that. But she ain't dumb. She know that you trying to use her. She know it. I typed in Pizarro's chat. I was like, now how in the hell is this man trying to offer you a position in the B sector that you've already had? It's almost like he is offering her this first lady thing, like he is giving her something. When in all actuality, the only person that stands to gain is him. Just like he presented to Lemon, him being a manager. The person who gained from him being a manager for Lemon wasn't Lemon. Whether that talent show was going to be organized and long as hell like what it was, or whether it was going to be a drunken shit show, either way, Lemon was going to have eyes over there, regardless of Code was involved or not. Good morning, Demon Soul. Regardless if he was involved or not, people were still going to look at it. But Cole used Lemon to earn an extra couple of $100 by being the manager, when all actuality, Lemon probably would have had the same type of turnout and the same success without him. It's like he get over here and he is convincing these people that they need him, and he's the only person that's gaining. Good morning, Sassy Francis. Good morning, Sassy Francis. So yeah, I'm just looking at that, and even so, I'll mention you about the whole first lady thing, because I remember when Cole and them first came, you was saying that you was the first lady over there, and now you done completely changed your mind. Now you the first lady over there with Shakim, but not over there with Cole. I honestly just think when these new people come in, don't be trying to be in a rush to be first lady about anything at their platform. Especially not with the code, and then the fact that code ain't even giving no credit off this first lady tip. Demon Soul first was talking about the first lady over there, but then now Code want to run the competition and he only want Pizarro to be the first lady. Pizarro turned them down. Now he want all of these other women to be comfortable with being the second place pick or second choice of being the first lady over there. It's just a whole type of mess going on. Good morning, William, and thank you. And William, happy belated Father's Day. I don't think I saw you. So happy Father's Day, William. Happy Father's Day to all of the people. And Ray Trees. You say I'm chastising you in public, Demon, so no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you feel chastised, Demon. So it's not chastising. It's me telling you to know your worth. Billy Go Raw, Billy Go Raw and Cold. You had more value over here than they did. You trying to be first lady for them is what gave them some sense of value. When these new people come, girl, you hold more value. If I could say anything, Billy Goat Rob done benefited from him having a friendship with you, even if he don't see it. Because there's a lot of people that wouldn't give Billy Goat Rob the time of day at all. But he had to make these connections and had to make these friendships with y'all in order for him to be able to move around. Good morning, Pizarro. And good morning, DC. Pizarro, I was just talking about how Cole was just trying to play you with this whole first lady stuff. Girl, I know you smarter than that. Girl, it's the $5 a week for me. $5 a week. But meanwhile, they saying that Lemon done paid him $500 for being a manager. And all he could do is $5 a week. Make that make sense. Good morning, Leo. Good morning, everybody. Y'all, I done went through all of my spiel, and I guess Pizarro want to come sneaking up in here late. She want to sneak up in here late because she thought I was going to drag Brian. And I told Pizarro I wasn't dragging Brian, but I was going to speak brutally honest. And I did, but I didn't drag him. But y'all, everybody, you just got to learn from these things that Brian got going on. Demon Soul said, Billy Goat Raw is sweet to me all the time and looks out for me. I get way more than Cole first lady gonna get. But Billy Goat Raw. Demon Soul said, why he come on in his gown? Demon Soul, now see, I didn't laugh at all, but until you gonna ask me why this man came on in his gown. Who knows? Who knows why he had on this gown? Who knows why he came on and put the camera on his sister? Who knows? I don't know, girl. I don't know. Zulu don't even know. Zulu said he confused too. He don't know. Ivane said Dragon, Sour Patch, and Lola all agreed to compete. I know, but they don't realize that they're the second choices because he really want Pizarro to do it, trying to guilt trip Pizarro into it. And let's be real. The reason why, let me put these names right up here. Yvonne A. The reason why they all agreed to compete and he don't even give a damn is because he know that Dragons ain't got no clout. He know that Sour Patch ain't got no clout. He know that Lolo ain't got no clout. These three ladies that you mentioned, yes, they are within their rights. Women are in the beef sector. But he know that he can't stand the game nearly from them what he could gain from Pizarro. Just the fact that the intel's gonna show up just because Pizarro there. Who gonna show up because Dragon's there? Who gonna show up because Sour Patch there? Who gonna show up because Laurie is there? I'll wait. He want Pizarro because he know the intel's gonna show up. Point blank in the period. And the fact that he is trying to disguise it as this opportunity that he is giving Pizarro when really it's an opportunity for himself because now he has a monetized channel. I'm thinking that he's going to be wanting to do members only content with Pizarro as the first lady up in his membership so he could have all this exclusive stuff. It's all to line his pockets. And just the fact that he wouldn't dare allow YouTube to only be promising him $5 a week, but he want to promise Pizarro $5 a week. Good morning, Sadly Mistaken. That he want to promise Pizarro $5 a week, but he know he'd be down if Google and YouTube gave him that. Oh, speaking of Google, y'all, this is my last point. I forgot to put this up on my notes, but it's worth me sharing with y'all. So many of y'all that's been following me for years, y'all know, I think it was about 3-4 years ago. Many of my supporters here on this J.Dunn channel, it was my birthday, and they all poured into me Cash App so that I could buy a Fitbit. That particular year, I bought the Fitbit Charge 5, and I have used that for the last 3 or 4 years. Well, yesterday morning, I felt it vibrate on my wrist to let me know to walk because it vibrates every hour. If I haven't moved or walked or whatever, it'll vibrate. So I get up and I'll walk, etc. Well, I noticed that the screen was black. It was a black blank screen on my Fitbit. So I'm like, dang, what's wrong? So I started troubleshooting it myself. I was looking up different things to troubleshoot it so that I could figure out what's going on with my device. Long story short, I couldn't fix it myself no matter how many tips and guides that I found, whether it was on YouTube through Google. Y'all, I forgot that Google bought Fitbit. Do y'all know that Google bought Fitbit? Well, if you didn't know, you know now. So once I could not fix my watch myself yesterday evening, I went on ahead and requested a call back from Google. So Google did give me the call back. And I spoke with the lady about my Fitbit. She gave me a few different troubleshooting techniques to do. Those didn't work, and she told me that I was past my warranty, which I'm sure I was because I think my warranty was only 2 years to begin with. And she was able to give me a discount code on my next Fitbit. So she emailed me a 35% discount code. So if y'all have Fitbit, y'all better take advantage of the fact that Google owns Fitbit now. They will call you or you could call them. They will help you go through the troubleshooting techniques. And if they can't fix it and you out of your warranty, they will send you a discount code. And I got a 35% discount on my next Fitbit purchase. Yes. Bloop. Yep. They said that even though they couldn't help me fix my Charge 5, They said I was eligible for an upgrade, so they sent me a promotion code. And so last night I went on ahead and upgraded to a Fitbit Charge 6. And my Fitbit Charge 6 should be arriving in the mail sometime this week. Essentially I ended up saving almost $60. $60, y'all, $60. And I didn't have to worry about a shipping fee. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? So yeah, you can't beat that $60 off of a brand new Fitbit, the newest model, and I didn't have to pay for any shipping. All I had to pay for was the tax, and the tax came up to be like $6 and some cents. So it ended up working out. So I can't wait to get my new device so I could get it charged. Because yeah, I gotta get back on my grind. Because I use my Fitbit in order to check my activity throughout the day. Also, it does help me as well with my fasting, because if you do intermittent fasting plus you make sure that you do enough movement per day, oh, the pounds just drop off. In fact, they melt off. And I definitely want the Fitbit to come in next week so that I can start my next round of fasting, hopefully by the beginning of July. Because I calculated in July 2nd, it'll be 60 days before my birthday. So if I started a new fasting regimen and stuck to it for that 60 days, y'all, I can't imagine, between the intermittent fasting and my new Fitbit to track everything, I cannot imagine the results that I'm gonna see. And that's one thing too about this Fitbit, because this one was waterproof, and so anytime I would go swimming, I would swim with this one. And I swim with this thing for years and never had an issue with it. But it makes me wonder if that was an issue because I swim with it. But I like to swim with it on so that it could still track my activity even while I'm swimming. But I'm gonna have to double check with Google to make sure that my Charge 6, that it can also go in the water. Yvonne said, "This is messy and funny." Shout out to Zulu. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you so much. Y'all, so yeah, I did want to tell y'all that. So if y'all do Fitbit, don't forget Google owns them now. If y'all about to upgrade, don't just go and buy it. Definitely call them so that y'all can get y'all a discount code, because it was worth every penny of the discount that I got. So now let me go ahead and wind down. Let me say thank you to Ray Tricks for the donation. Thank you to Jeannie G for the donation. Thank you to Olivia for the donation. Thank you to Yvonne for the donation. Thank you to Jeannie G for the donation. Thank you to Michelle for the donation. Thank you to Lynn T for the donation. Thank you to Yvonne A for the donation. So let me see right here. Let's see. So it looks like I was close to my goal, but even with me not meeting my goal all the way, y'all, I'll probably still come and give y'all a weekend live. I enjoyed when I came on Sunday and gave y'all a weekend show. I think it was it Sunday morning? I think it was Sunday morning I gave y'all the weekend show. I think it was. And I enjoyed coming and giving y'all that show. So I'll probably go ahead and give y'all a Sunday show again. Either Saturday or Sunday. One of the two. Oh, and if y'all didn't check my community wall yesterday, I will start back utilizing my J.Dunn daughter channel here shortly. I'm thinking I'm going to start back utilizing it on Monday. So I just want to share my membership link for anybody that was a member and ended up losing their membership because I wasn't using that channel. Y'all, when we were in the height of the striking wars, I had to stop using that channel and start using this channel over here because I was being strategic. But now that it seems like things are settling back down, they're settling down a little bit, then I was like, well, let me start back going over there, utilizing that channel. My ultimate goal is to still utilize both. And I hope that this weekend I'll be able to decide how I want to break my content down into using both of these channels. Where throughout my week, I'm going to be using both at the same time versus me just coming and doing all content on one channel or all content on another channel. I want to try to have a balance between both of these channels. I don't know if I'm going to do like messy weekend content over here on this channel and then morning shows on my Dunn Daughter channel or vice versa. I'm not sure how I'm going to line it up. But either way, I do want to line up things that way so that I could use both and so that I could maintain my memberships. I want to get back into my members. I was doing my members Monday, and I think I could still get back into doing the members Monday. The only thing is I might have to push the time back where normally I was doing my members Monday at about 5 or 6. I'm thinking I might have to do my members Monday at about 7 or 8 if I pick that back up. But either way, I'm going to get the feedback of the people in my membership still because I'm going to probably do a membership post to try to take a little poll to see what y'all would prefer. Lee Pepper said Fitbit is very good. I have the Versa too. That's what's up. Okay. Yeah, I've gone through at least, I've been using Fitbit since 2000. I want to say 2009 or 2010. No lie. And I've gone through at least 4 different models since then. 4. But the charge is the one that I really have become accustomed to because, like what I've said, I can swim with that on. Many of the other ones were not waterproof to the point to where it could be submerged in water and not be damaged. But I like the Charge 5 because, yeah, you can have it on your wrist while you're swimming and it's fine. It's perfectly fine. And it tracks your swimming progress and everything. It tracks how many calories you burned while you swim and all that. So that's why I've been sticking to the Charge. And that's the reason why I upgraded to the Charge 6. Because my goal is that the Charge 6 is going to also, good morning, pretty chocolate girl, that the Charge 6 is going to also allow me to be able to swim without any issue or any problem. So yeah. Well, either way, y'all, I've been here long enough. I started late, so I tried to stay a little bit later than normal. But I'm going to put my ear to the streets and see what else I hear. And I'll keep y'all posted on everything. Thank y'all so much for joining me here. Y'all have a great Friday. Thank God it's Friday. We made it through another work week. I hope that y'all have a great weekend. Y'all take care. Be blessed. Don't stress. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye.